Hello, fellow humans! This is one of my favorite animals, the Peruvian slingshot spider. I think the scientific name for it is Yeetus maximus. Since this channel is really more geared towards biological sciences, I'll be explaining some drag racing. Not that kind. I'm talking about going a straight line as fast as possible. Although drag racing in drag is like drag squared, and I that sounds absolutely epic now I think about it. But get distracted. I'll be explaining who that is, who Yeetus Maximus is, and then a little fun I have with some calculators with the acceleration of the spider. So yes, drag racing is racing a straight line, usually a quarter mile, but short lengths like eighth of a mile and longer lengths like half a mile can happen. I'm going to be more focusing on top fuel dragsters because they're basically the best, the fastest. I don't know what the words to use. The most flashy in the NHRA, National Auto Association, which is a governing body for drag racing. And these top fuel dragsters technically only race in just under a fifth of a mile instead of the full quarter mile. This is really a safety thing since they can get well over 300 miles an hour and do the fifth mile in just under 4 seconds.
Hey humans, you want to see what 4 seconds look like?
This is all assuming that nothing goes pop with enthusiasm in the motor. Just don't forget the energy for acceleration involved is not linear; it's exponential. So twice the speed doesn't require twice the power; it's going to require more, and that really depends on mass and the speeds involved. But these machines gets up. The drivers can experience up to 5 Gs of force. This will be important for later, but I'll remind you. For context, 1 G of acceleration is 9.8 meters per second per second. This is the speed of someone free falling if you remove things like drag and terminal velocity. Granted, it's a negative G, technically speaking. These machines are amazing. They have roughly 11,000 horsepower. It's only calculated. And they drink nitromethane, not regular fuel. They can consume roughly 15 gallons per race. And by the way, I kind of pointed out the calculated because the engines do not work long enough to get on those dyno machines that measure a vehicle's horsepower. They have to completely tear apart the engines between every race to rebuild them. So they're really not, high mileage machines. I really enjoyed Driver 681's work, so here's a link for why top fuel dragsters tend to go pop. I'm going to keep it up a little bit if you want to clicky. And here's another link because I love tires. I love grip. But here's a link on how their tires tire properly because you can have a gazillion and a half horsepower. That really means nothing if you can't put that to the ground to accelerate or some other method, to move forward. It's just like an excited dog on tile. Yeah, great, but you're not going anywhere. Let's see, for a little contrast, the more powerful brand new sport bikes like the GSXR 1000 for Suzuki or your typical Ducati sport bike can get just under 12 seconds in a quarter mile without any performance modifications. So basically, we're talking from store to drag strip. A V8 muscle car without any supercharger or turbocharger or any tricks like that can do it in like 12 seconds. A family sedan typically does it 15 to 16 seconds, and a comparative SUV will be a few seconds longer than that. These numbers will vary depending upon make and model and whatnot. Just for laughs, I decided to look up how long it takes a human to run a quarter mile. Apparently, 2 minutes and 37 seconds is typical for a runner. I even read that some humans can do it in 50 seconds. Well, this is where the Peruvian slingshot spider comes in. They're small spiders. In fact, their whole genus really doesn't get larger than 3 millimeters. So how do they fit in the spider family tree? Well, first, the family, which I realize kind of sounds weird, but work with me here. When we talk about spider families, it's basically like this. Wolf spiders are one family called like Assad. Jumping spiders are another called Southgate. So a lot of times when like spider people talk about spiders, from my experience, they tend to like what family is pretty much the first one of the first questions they ask if they don't know what kind of spider something is. But the Peruvian slingshot spiders are part of the race spider family. The name will be on the screen, but Pterodomacetidae. Oh, I almost had that. No, Pterodomacetidae. Latin's a dead language. But the basic level below families are the genus. That is where the slingshot spiders generally fit. There are multiple species within this genus. When you hear a scientific name, it's generally genus, then species. So, like the fish, you got the fish boops, boops. The boops is the genus, boops is the species. Hopefully that clarifies things. But the whole family are spiders. They're typical web building spiders, but they kind of do a little bit there. What they specialize is they kind of build these cone shaped webs. These are equiblet spiders, so their webs have the sticky kind of silk. They use glue essentially to help capture the prey. I mean, not all the strands have it. It's just strands of silk that they this job to catch the prey. This is in contrast to the quiblet spiders who catch prey through van der Waals forces. And in an oversimplified nutshell, it's kind of like static electricity. This is how those, if you have glasses or fancier sunglasses, you get like a little piece of cloth and it's supposed to be like scratch free and all that. That's how these pieces of cloth collect the dust and dirt and everything without scratching the glasses. It just, when you talk about like this small, this light, that's the Van der Waals forces is how these cloths clean glasses. And as far as I can tell, equiblet and criblet spiders are not good with the taxonomic organization. So that's the reason why I put that out first. But the slingshot spider genus description, the name will be on the screen. They're yes, tends to have a web like a slingshot, like a conical slingshot. So they pull back their web like a conical slingshot. I'm getting very creative with my description right here. And then they have an anchor on the ground. So they pull back the web, hold on to the anchor. When they sense prey through the web, they do the sensible thing and let go of the anchor and throw themselves into the prey. Like, oh yeah, I'm a little excited. I can't focus. I love this on a spiritual level. They literally yeet themselves at the maximus at their prey. This is this is kind of like how I play video games and sometimes accidentally ride my bike. Uh, we're protection kids. That's all I'm going to say with the motorcycles. But the forgive me, I love what you guys do. The Bhamla lab of Georgia Tech
Hey, call me.
discovered that the Peruvian slingshot spider can accelerate at 130 Gs of acceleration, which is mental. Fighter pilots with special suits and training can handle 9 Gs of force in short bursts before they pass out. These are people who their workout routine, their fitness, even their suits squeeze them hard enough to keep blood in the brain. And humans can do that at the maximum of 9 Gs. These spiders just routinely do it They can routinely do it over 100 Gs. I okay, I'm calm. I'm calm now. Remember the rough core model time from earlier? Not scaling down to size or anything weird like that. Like, if they're this size, you can do this. And keeping the acceleration down the quarter mile. So going the 130 Gs, I believe the number was like roughly 132 Gs, technically speaking. 133, somewhere in between there. I put that number in some online calculators. If they can continue the acceleration, they can do it under the quarter mile in just under zero point 0.8 seconds, going 2,266 miles per hour at the end. The 5 Gs of acceleration that the top hill dragsters can do in comparison is 5 Gs, and they do not really, but we're just going to say they do the quarter mile in just under 4 seconds, going over 300 miles an hour. I mean, that's kind of the comparison I was trying to make earlier. But this acceleration clearly is insane, even though they only do this for like milliseconds. The point of them doing this is not for entertainment or anything like that. The idea is to catch the prey item, usually like a small fly, unaware. So instead of the fly just flying and then into a web and getting caught up that way, kind of like running into a glass wall, the spider web goes to the fly at the spider head. Breathe, breathe. Then after the fly gets caught up, it'll struggle. The more it struggles, the more caught it gets, more tangled up, and that's when the spider does a bite. And they really don't eat; they suck the contents out of the fly. So there's that. But one of the amazing things about this is to get to this fast, muscles cannot accelerate this fast. The biochemistry of muscles just can't do this. So what they do is they store the energy in the web like a spring, kind of like one of those pullback springs. And right here, there should be a graph from, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it again, but the Bhamla lab website that they have showing the energy density of the web. You can compare this to the frog hopper, for example. Frog hoppers store the energy in their skin, more specifically the cuticle, which is part of their skin, their exoskeleton. I decided to look up, like, all right, how fast can this go? How fast can this creature accelerate? Oh, Hermes, Greek god of speed, help me. They can hit 550 Gs.
Well, how about that?
Okay, I forgot to write a script for this, and I don't feel like doing it because I'm lazy. If you like what you saw, hit the buttons below. As always, information will be in the description. I do apologize if you have to copy and paste the link. And I forgot to point out the Driver 61 videos I mentioned earlier will still be below, so you don't have to go back and look for it. If you have to copy and paste the link, I apologize ahead of time. I'll do my best to make sure that copy and paste can still work in the URL, but Google, the parent company of YouTube, wants me to send a picture of myself for verification and all that, and I just didn't feel like doing it, so I've been saying I've been taking my phone up to the computer screen, sending a picture of like a historical figure, and it's been passing the initial, yeah, okay, we're human, we're gonna have to process. Looks human, we're gonna have to process it, and I don't know if someone actually like has a job of verifying the photographs if they're real or not, but yeah, yeah. Google got a little mad at me for that because, like, the last one I think it was Manfred von Richthofen, World War One pilot, triplane, three wings, red, fought for the Germans. That guy, the Red Baron, Yeah, Google's a little upset with me right now, so sorry if you have to copy and paste the links. I really, I just don't feel like sending my phone out, and it's actually kind of funny.
I'm not apologizing.
Bugs. 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 Everybody bugs now. Bugs. 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 Give me a minute.